Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome. Today's Wednesday, November 2nd, 2022. My name's Jeremy. This is my first cup. Wearing my new Whistlekick matching sweatsuit, which is not available online yet, but will be soon, very soon. Good morning, Shabashi. Good morning, Jenny. Good morning, Mark. Good morning, all the rest of you, whether you're watching live or later. Thanks for coming by. How are you? How was your Tuesday? How'd it go? What did you do? What was the good? What was the not? All that. Good morning, Dennis. I recorded some episodes yesterday. We had one no-show, which was a bummer because it would have been a bigger name. Not the big name that we recorded yesterday, but a bigger name. So that was a little disappointing. I find it interesting how people that are successful, supposedly quite successful, or claim to be very successful at things, something will happen in their life and they feel no obligation to let people know, oh, this is what was happening today. I guess I better let those people know I can't meet my obligation. I have never been so sick or anything that I did not tell people I cannot meet my obligation today. I am ill, etc. But you know what? The world doesn't have to see things the way I do. Now, the other two episodes I recorded were very good. The one with the famous person that some of you know about because you're in the Patreon, because you pay at least $2 a month. And if you're not in the Patreon, you should be. Just saying. That episode went really well. Oh, man. There are some things from that episode. There's going to be some heat. There's going to be some heat. Had to pull this person back a couple times. There were a couple of things that were said. I was like, oh, I'll let that go. They were ridiculous in a great way at points. Focus, camera, focus. There we go. Good morning, Stacy. Jared said, is there a big name scale to rate your guests? No. How would we do that? I'm open to doing that. I don't know how we would do that. Jared says, for a minute, I thought you were playing Christmas music in your intro. That'd be blasphemy. That's never going to happen. There's only one good Christmas song, and it's the Charlie Brown Christmas one. That one, it's all piano. It's the only good one. The rest of them are so tired. Dennis says, happy Wednesday, peeps, because starting your day with the Whistlekick family is a winning formula. Oh, I like that. Jenny says, I rested a lot yesterday. Exhaustion from the weekend caught up with me and hit me hard. I'm feeling better today and planning to make fresh pumpkin butter. Ooh, that sounds pretty good. Jenny says, dude, Carol of the Bells. I don't know what that is. No idea. I also went to bed early. We're in that time, right, where time change is pending. And actually, isn't that coming this weekend? And it's dark. And it gets dark earlier. I've just been going to bed early. I'm like, you know what? I don't care what the clock says. I'm tired. I'm going to bed. Getting lots of rest. feeling alert and awake. So I'm still not on caffeine. There's no caffeine in this cup right now. This is tea. You could probably tell by the tea, the little string on it, right? Coffee doesn't generally have that. Good tea, good tea. Jared says there's no time change anymore. Did we give up on that finally? Oh, don't tell me it's different for different places. Brian says, Cassidy, my princess is 10 today. Well, happy birthday, Cassidy. Jenny, I am unfamiliar with this song, this Bells song. No. Charlie Brown Christmas. It was the only, back when I had the IT company and we had a store, I forbade Christmas music. If you don't work retail, you don't know how obnoxious Christmas music gets. Because there aren't that many songs. There are like 12 songs. And to listen to them over and over and over for weeks is brutal. So I told my staff, I said, we will never play Christmas music. I said, the only acceptable Christmas music, if you choose, is that Charlie Brown Christmas album with the piano. That I'm good. And it's only one song that I like. All right, there is disagreement as to what's going on with the time change. So somebody's going to have to figure this out. Mark says that he likes All I Want for Christmas Is You. Zed says Mariah Carey's All I Wanted for Christmas is 6 of those 12 songs. Yeah, there's a lot of discussion in here as to what's going on with daylight savings time. And Jared, I suspect you're right. So maybe the federal mandate of daylight savings time is gone. I think you're right. I think that's what it is. Which is interesting because one would have thought that would have gotten more press. I've seen very little about it. Seems like a thing that we can get all worked up and argue with each other about. Then it says, my personal Christmas playlist has 249 songs, and these are just my faves. Well, Dennis loves Christmas music. Tommy says it was passed in the Senate and dropped in the House. So we don't know what's going on. Stacy says, I love Christmas music too, but I'm fussy about what hits my playlist. Wow. All right. I'm going to do something I almost never do. Daylight savings ending. News. Nope. This has not been abandoned. Nope. This is all still a thing. Sorry, guys. I don't want it to be either. I think it's annoying and silly, but nobody asked me. From what I'm reading, if you have had daylight savings time, you continue to have daylight savings time. There has been no official change at this time, which is probably why we haven't been given news stories to make us argue with each other about it. Tea's good this morning. Did I do anything else? Oh, I tried to go to the gym. What do you mean you tried? Well, I tried. I got my clothes together. I got in the car. I drove away. And I got off the highway. It typically takes me 13 to 15 minutes to get to the gym. takes me about 10 to 12 of those minutes on the highway. Then I get off the ramp and I drive maybe 3 more miles and I'm good to go. So I got off the ramp, and 10 minutes later, I was still on the ramp. I'd moved forward barely. And it was just utter chaos. And so here we are. At that point, it was almost 30 minutes after I'd left my house. I still hadn't made it to the gym. And I said, nope, going home. So I came home and worked out a little bit here. I was quite annoyed. Yeah. The traffic pattern, for those of you local, the traffic pattern from Waterbury to Stowe, it's not good. I don't even know why it's so busy. There must be, I wonder if this is the lacrosse tournament weekend. Stowe often hosts a large lacrosse tournament, like a national thing. And let's just say Stowe is not set up for large volumes of traffic, and they like it that way. People brag about it. Took me 2.5 hours to get to the mountain this morning. Gross. Move. Tommy says, founder of Rankin Bass died. Best Christmas special and stop animation of its era. Something I will acknowledge. I suspect most of us here are not big aficionados of modern hip hop music, but it's important to, I think, to acknowledge that one of the biggest names in music was shot and killed. I mean, it's a big deal in terms of who this person was. You may not know the trio Migos, but Offset was shot. I will not call myself a fan of their music, but I am, first off, I'm sad anytime anybody gets murdered. I think that's terrible. It should go without saying. But perhaps more importantly, we still live in a time when no matter how big and famous you are, violence can come your way. We're not going to talk about it, but I wanted to acknowledge it. Jared says Rankin Bass also did Thundercats. That was a good cartoon. Solid plot development. Characters. I was a big Thundercats fan. Thundercats, Transformers, all the good stuff. All right. Is there anything else I want to talk about? Today, Andrew and I are going to record some Thursday stuff. We have a meeting because with Free Training Day, next week, I drive to the hotel a week from tomorrow. We're trying to make sure all the ducks are in rows ahead of time. So, oh, Dennis, I love that. If there was any justice in the world, we wouldn't have to change the clocks until the following weekend so that we could enjoy an extra hour of Free Training Day. I love that. Toby, I'm laughing at your comment. Now, Frank did send some stuff over. Thank you, as always, to Frank for all of your hard work on the show. And thank you, of course, to Josh as well for our theme song. Would still love to offload new graphics to somebody. If somebody wants to make this, the sand, that's difficult. If somebody wants to make that better, let me know. I'll ask about that periodically. All right. So Frank sent us some stuff about chess. Of course, the mindset of chess and the mindset of martial arts, pretty similar. And I think that there's a lot that we can learn playing chess as martial artists. So Frank writes, one of my favorite chess grandmasters to follow on YouTube is Hikaru Nakamura. He famously took the Mensa online IQ test and scored a very average 102. Despite this fact, he recently became world chess champion. He beat another very good player, Magnus Carlsen. According to IQtest.net, Magnus reportedly has an IQ of 190. That blew me away. Hikaru beat him despite having a little more than half his IQ. We think of chess as being very intellectual. From what I have read, it is more important having traits like a good memory, pattern recognition, and grit. Here are some quotes that I think apply to martial arts and chess. And actually, before we step into that, let's talk about. My understanding is that modern psychology has abandoned the IQ test as a comprehensive measure, the recognition that intelligence is not one thing, it's several things. There's emotional intelligence. There's, what are the other two? I don't remember. But what is intelligence? It's the ability to process information. What does a computer chip do? It processes information. Just because a computer has a faster processor doesn't mean it does anything necessarily different or better than another computer unless it is challenged, unless it is given more to do. I consider myself an intelligent person, and the best way for me to describe how I think my intelligence manifests is I can process more information at a given time. I can observe more data points and incorporate them into a contemplation than the average person. Sometimes that's really good. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes I overanalyze. Sometimes, well, let's just say it's not always a good thing. Mike says, I require students to learn chess for black belt. Oh, that's fascinating. I'd love to hear more about that. Stacy, I am acknowledging your comment there. Thank you. Yeah, there's nothing else I'm going to say on that. So let's move on. It's not the size of the dog in the fight. It's the size of the fight in the dog. You know, we all like those underdog stories, right? Because we all recognize that on a given day, anybody can win. And we like to see good competition. It is a rare person who enjoys watching a person or a team absolutely demolish another team or another person in some manner of competition. We like to see a fair challenge, a fair fight. And I think one of the easiest ways to get a crowd on your side is to be passionate. I've watched that happen. I've watched in amateur MMA people who are completely outclassed not give up, and the crowd all gets behind them because they want to see them succeed. And sometimes that's enough, and it turns the corner, and they win. I think that's fun. Jared asks, why have black belts learn chess and not Go, the Asian strategy game? Maybe because everybody has easier access to chess in this country? I don't know. Next, champions are made from something they have deep inside them, a desire, a dream, a vision. They have to have the skill and the will, but the will must be stronger than the skill. Muhammad Ali. We actually talked about Muhammad Ali yesterday on one of the episodes. The fact that just because someone is the best at something doesn't mean they always win at something. And we've forgotten that. The best sports teams rarely, very rarely go undefeated. In fact, it's happened, twice in the history of pro football? It's never happened that I'm aware of in baseball or basketball. Even the best, even the unquestionably best, have a bad day. Mike says, go is required for fifth dog. Yes, I'm with you. Let me correct statement. I love a fair fight until I'm in it. Then I stack the deck any way I can. Yeah. There's Andrew and I recorded an episode called There's No Such Thing as a Fair Fight. Has that one aired yet? I don't remember. It's blurry. When we record this stuff, it gets really blurry for me. That was a good conversation. Uno más. There's no greater danger than underestimating your opponent. And where does that come from? Our belief that we're going to win, our desire to be the victor. We have to believe it, right? You have to believe you're going to win or you're not going to win. So we believe so strongly that we're going to win that we discount things that maybe we shouldn't. And that is one of the worst things that we can do. Heard a story about that on one of the martial arts radio episodes yesterday as well. It is okay to believe you will be victorious and recognize that it is not going to be an easily fought challenge. It's okay to believe both of those things. It doesn't have to be an overwhelming victory. Vegas odds very rarely have any given team dominating their opponents. There's a spread, right? There's generally the belief that, they'll win by this much, a couple touchdowns, a couple runs, 8 points, whatever it is. How does that translate into combat? It's rare someone's not going to get hit. It's rare you're not going to feel some pain. You gotta embrace it. It's going to be part of it. All right, Jenny says, yes, that episode was released a few weeks ago. I thought so. Mike says, rule 16 is someone thinks they have the upper hand, break it. She says, is that why I broke my own hand in a tournament? I like it. Makes me think of Steve Austin. Gibbs rules. Well, I think about playing chess as a kid. And I think the biggest lesson I took was to slow down and to recognize that paying attention, paying attention to my opponent and their actions and what they seem to be trying to do was far more important than what I wanted to do. Oh, I want to do this. Well, if we break it down to something I've been saying for a little while now, teaching, everything we do is a reaction. Every single thing we do. There is no action. It's all reaction. At least it should be. If it's ever action, suggesting it's not reaction, that means it's independent of what you can observe of what your opponent or partner is doing. And that's a silly way to go. Reaction is much more limited. There are only so many appropriate reactions that you might have in any given circumstance. If someone has closed the gap and they're currently punching you in the face, you taking a step back and, I don't know, kicking them in the ankle is probably a poor choice. Maybe there's a situation where it's a good choice, but it's probably not a good one. Leaving your hands down at the side, probably also a poor choice. But you can think of a handful of things that you might do that make sense in that situation. Why are you doing them? Because you are reacting. By the same token, if your partner or opponent is at a distance, you standing there and turning your back is probably a poor choice. You are making choices as to perhaps how you want to attack or prepare your defense based on what has happened and what is happening and what you suspect might happen, given what you know, given the information that you have collected, your data points, as they were. And I think this is where chess is really helpful, because it forces you to slow down. There are no violent consequences in chess. I'm not playing wizard's chess. So to get better at slowing down and reacting is a good idea. Mark says a master chess player will plan 5 or more moves in advance. Yeah, for sure. Jared says, so in a weird way, engaging in a fight is forming a relationship with them. Absolutely. Both people have a contribution to that relationship. I completely agree. There is something that exists between those people. And when the fight is over, that thing that's been created is gone. Mike says, greatest competition I ever partook in was 3-round competition. First round, Taekwondo rules. Second round was 1-minute speed test. Third round, judo rules. Oh, that's fascinating. I like that a lot. That's an interesting take on the concept of mixed martial arts. Let's do some of the same things, but let's break them out separately. That way you can see where your strengths and weaknesses are a little better. Fascinating. I dig it. The second round was 1-minute speed chess. Got it. Not a speed test. Damn swipe. That's really cool. Well, is there anything else to tell you? Oh, got some client calls today. Got a few things that I'm working on. Other than that, it's gonna be a simple day. It will be a busy day, but it will be a simple day. So I want to thank you all. Thank you all for being here. If you want to support us, remember, Patreon, if you want to know who these names are I keep hinting at, $2 a month. Just $2 a month. Does $2 actually help you? Yes, it does. Because people can see those numbers going up and they're like, oh man, this must be a good thing. It keeps growing. I want to be part of it. And also, I'm never going to consider any contribution to be irrelevant. This is a big mission. Every dollar does help. You can also check out the family page at whistlekick.com/family or pick up something at whistlekick.com with the code FirstCup15. This suit will go live soon. We are probably not announcing it until free training day. So you're not going to get it before free training day. But those of you who are attending free training day, you might consider not buying anything until free training day. I'm just going to say that. First Cup is the only martial arts morning show coming to you live, 6:30 a.m. U.S. Eastern Time, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. And there we go. So I hope you all have a fabulous day, and I hope to see you back here tomorrow. We've got another episode of Martial Arts Radiator Drop. And I'll see you then. Take care. Peace.